Breaking chaos, cameras, and a cast trip gone catastrophically left. What was supposed to be a peaceful retreat for love and hip-hop, Atlanta Season 13 just turned into a full-blown meltdown at the center of it all. Erica Mena, unleashing a verbal firestorm so explosive it left Mendeecees stunned, Yandy speechless, and the internet on fire. Did she really threaten to have him locked up on camera? Oh, she absolutely did. But the bigger question is why now? What did Mendeecees say or do to push Erica to that point? And why did Yandy just stand there like her entire franchise wasn't collapsing around her? Was this just another love and hip-hop stunt? Or are we witnessing the unraveling of the picture-perfect couple's reality? From shady retreats to not-so-secret backroom whispers, this isn't just drama, it's war. Anonymous producers are leaking details, cast members are choosing sides, and the audience grabbing popcorn like it's the season finale. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into the chaos that turned a healing trip into a legal threat, a friendship implosion, and possibly the biggest scandal Season 13 has ever seen. You're not gonna believe what's really going on behind those confessionals. Let's get into it. So let's break this madness all the way down, because what just went down at the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta retreat is nothing short of reality TV legend status. You've got drama, betrayal, threats, and one viral moment that might just be the crack that shatters the entire image Mendeecees and Yandy have been clinging to for years. We're talking about Erica Mena standing dead in the middle of a healing retreat, flipping the whole script on everyone, and pointing her finger right in Mendeecees' face like she was about to call the cops in real time. And yes, she said it with her full chest, "Keep talking slick and I'll have you locked up." That line didn't just hit the room like a grenade, it detonated everything. Cameras were rolling, cast members were frozen, and even the producers didn't know whether to yell cut or call security. But the real kicker, Yandy, the queen of calm composure, was just standing there looking like she'd seen a ghost, her whole body stiff, eyes darting like she was trying to process the collapse of her brand. Because let's be honest, this wasn't just another love and hip-hop argument. This was personal. This was layered. And this was years in the making. Erica didn't just snap out of nowhere. Nah, she's been sitting on this, simmering, watching from the sidelines while people painted her out to be unstable, emotional, hard to deal with. Meanwhile, the so-called power couple was moving like they were too polished to ever get messy, but oh, the mess showed up, uninvited, in high definition. It all started with Bambi and Spice, the usual suspects, exchanging light jabs over who's real, who's fake, who only shows up when the camera's on. Spice came for Bambi, like she always does, slick with the tongue, all Caribbean fire, and side-eye. Bambi wasn't having it and clapped back, telling Spice she always got something smart to say. That back and forth was already heating the room, but nobody expected Erica to be the one to blow the lid off everything. While Bambi and Spice were going at it, Erica was silent, but her silence wasn't peaceful. She was scanning the room, like a lioness about to pounce. And then, out of nowhere, she cuts through the noise with one sentence. "Some people here love to perform when they think no one's watching." You could have heard a pin drop. Mendeecees, confused but clearly triggered, responded with, "What's that supposed to mean?" But Erica was already stepping out of the shadows. "You and your perfect little wife need to stop acting like y'all above the mess when y'all are the ones stirring it." That's when everything flipped. Yandy looked blindsided. Like her soul left her body for a second. She tried to keep it cute, telling Erica this wasn't about them, trying to de-escalate like a PR robot malfunctioning under pressure, but it was too late. Erica was in it, standing tall, voice rising, finger pointing, and truth bombs dropping. "You don't get to show up here, act innocent, and pretend like you're not part of the problem," she said. And listen, when Eric's voice cracked from passion, that's when you knew this wasn't a stunt. This wasn't for a storyline. This was a woman unhinged from years of fake smiles, backdoor gossip, and gaslighting. She said she remembered the things Mendeecees said about her, the way he'd call her unstable, laugh behind her back, act like she was a ticking time bomb while pretending he was Switzerland. And then she looked right at Yandy and said, "You let him do it. You stand there, smiling, nodding, letting him treat women like they're disposable while you play the wholesome wife role." That hit different because Yandy had nothing to say back. She just stood there, blinking. Her usual armor of grace cracked in that second. Mendeecees tried to mediate, raising his hands like some peacemaker saying they weren't here for all this, but Erica wasn't done. She pushed up from her seat, walked toward him, and dropped the line that shook the entire cast. "Keep talking, slick, and I'll have you locked up." The weight of those words shifted the energy in the room so hard even the cameramen flinched. Mendeecees stepped back like she'd just physically pushed him. He said, "What did you just say?" Erica doubled down. "You heard me. I'm tired of the games. Keep testing me, and we'll see what happens." Calm, collected, but deadly serious. You could feel it in your bones. This wasn't just an empty threat. Bambi let out a whistle. Spice was frozen. The producers off camera were frozen. Phones were out. The entire retreat went from tension to warfare in 5 seconds flat, and Yandy, she looked like she didn't know whether to defend her husband or just walk into the woods and scream. Mendeecees asked again, "You're threatening to call the cops on me. For what?" And Erica's response was chilling. "For whatever I feel like. Maybe for trying to intimidate me. Maybe for getting too close. Maybe because you think you can talk down to me and I'm supposed to sit here and smile." And just like that, the room wasn't just watching a fight. Anymore, they were witnessing a full-on character assassination live on camera. Erica accused Mendeecees of hiding behind a calm voice while throwing dirt on people's names. Of whispering in rooms he didn't belong in. Of pushing the narrative that she was unhinged when in reality, she was reacting to being provoked. Yandy tried again to step in, her voice cracking slightly. "This isn't what we came here for. Nobody came at you." But Erica snapped back. "I started this." "Nah, y'all started this the minute you decided to treat me like a liability, instead of a person." That moment right there, that one line, silenced even the background murmurs. Erica looked around the room like she was daring someone to challenge her, and nobody did. Not even Spice. Not even Bambi. Because whether people agreed with her, or not, they knew what they were seeing was real, and real makes people nervous. Mendes tried to calm it down one more time, but Erica laughed in his face. Not a cute laugh. Not a dramatic laugh. A hollow, bitter laugh like she was done pretending. "Watch me," she said. "Next time I won't just say it, I'll do it." The words hung in the air like smoke from a fire nobody wanted to put out. Mendeecees stood there, jaw clenched, eyes narrowed, trying to figure out how they had gone from a peaceful getaway to being publicly threatened by Mena in front of half the cast and a dozen rolling cameras. But the damage was already done. Erica had crossed a line and she knew it, but instead of backing down, she dug in deeper, letting everyone know she was done being painted as the villain when the real villains wore halos. The room was frozen, cast members glued to their seats, like they were watching a courtroom testimony unravel in real time. Erica wasn't pacing anymore. She was standing still, her eyes darting from Mendeecees to Yandy and back again, like she was daring them to say something, anything. Yandy finally broke the silence, her voice trembling, soft but slicing. She looked directly at Erica and said, "You think threatening to destroy my husband in front of everybody makes you powerful. You think being loud makes you right. Because all I see is someone who's been waiting to throw a grenade the second she felt ignored." Erica let out a short breath, more like a scoff, and turned slightly. "You're not innocent in this," she snapped. "You stood by him every time he called me unstable. Every time he tried to reduce me to a temper tantrum. You nodded, you co-signed, and now you want to play victim. Not today." Mendeecees stepped forward again, his voice low, but with that quiet storm tension that always meant something deeper. "I never tried to tear you down," he said. "I called it like I saw it. You've had moments that were out of control, and instead of owning them, you blamed everybody else. You want to hold me accountable, fine, but don't twist it into some fairy tale where you're the only one who's ever been hurt." Erica's jaw tightened. Her eyes flashed. Then she said, "You've been judging me from day one. Don't stand here and pretend this is new. You smile in my face, but behind my back, you've told people I'm dangerous, unfit, even manipulative. You tried to isolate me, you painted me as unstable so nobody would listen when I finally snapped. And that's what this was, wasn't it? A snap that had been waiting to happen." She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She was speaking with the cold clarity of someone who had kept score, and now, she was reading the receipts. Yandy's face fell. There was a flicker of guilt, of something cracking underneath. She said nothing for a moment, just stared at Erica like she didn't recognize the woman in front of her anymore. Erica kept going, "And you want to talk about loyalty? I've watched you defend people who've done way worse. But with me, one misstep and I was on your blacklist. You act like you're about healing, about sisterhood, but only when it's convenient. Only when it makes you look good. That was when Bambi muttered under her breath. Wow. And even Spice nodded slowly like she wasn't expecting the truth to cut this deep. Producers were still off to the side, motioning but not interrupting. One of them whispered into a headset, but the feed didn't stop. They knew they had lightning on tape. Mendeecees exhaled hard and shook his head. I never tried to hurt you, he said. But I'm done being silent while you rewrite history. Erica leaned in just slightly. You don't get to talk about history, not when you've made a career out of pretending to be the peacemaker while pushing people off the edge behind the scenes. And let's not act like this retreat was ever about healing. This was about optics. About control. About trying to repair a brand that's been crumbling ever since people started seeing through the act. Yandy snapped at that. Her voice finally rose, cracking like a dam. You don't know what I've done behind the scenes. You don't know the nights I stayed up worrying about how to fix the mess you caused. How to keep the show from spiraling when you went off the rails. Don't act like you've been the only one carrying weight. Erica took one step forward. Then say it, she said. Say what you really think. Stop hiding behind your husband and that fake peace persona. Say what you've been whispering to everyone else. Say it to my face. The room tensed up all over again. It was like watching a live grenade being passed back and forth. Yandy didn't flinch. You want honesty? Fine. I think you use your pain as a weapon. I think you start fires and then cry when you get burned. And I think you're more dangerous now than you've ever been. Because you're calculated, you know exactly what you're doing. Erica blinked slowly, then smiled. That's rich, coming from someone who's built a brand off pretending her marriage is flawless. Who's spent years covering for things no one's supposed to know about. You want to go there? We can. Because once this airs, people are going to start asking questions. They're going to start replaying every scene, every episode, every time you looked the other way while your husband dragged women behind the scenes. And they'll realize you're not just complicit. You're in it. Deep. And that's when Mendeecees finally lost it. His voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to cut through everything. You say one more lie about me, and I promise you, it won't be ignored. I've kept quiet for years, out of respect. But don't confuse my silence for guilt. Erica didn't back down. Try me, she said. You've already built your reputation on being the calm one, the controlled one, the quiet manipulator. But quiet doesn't mean innocent, and calm doesn't mean clean. Spice whispered to Bambi, Girl, this ain't even about TV no more. Bambi nodded. This is real life. This is pain. Yandy was breathing hard now, hands shaking slightly, and when she spoke again, her voice cracked. I've defended you. Time and time again. Even when people told me not to. Even when you turned on me. And this is what I get. A public takedown. A threat. A scene that's going to go viral and follow me forever. Erica was quiet for a second. Then she said, maybe you should have thought about that before you chose image over integrity. Before you decided that protecting a lie was more important than telling the truth. Mendeecees stepped between them, looking like he didn't know whether to walk away or shut the whole thing down. And just when it felt like the room couldn't get heavier, Erica looked at him one last time and said, I see you now. Not the TV version. Not the interview version. The real you. And I won't be silent anymore. The room went dead silent again, everyone frozen. Not because of the drama, but because of the truth. Because no matter which side you're on, no one could deny what had just happened. A line had been crossed, and there was no going back. Silence that followed. Erica's final words was suffocating, like the whole retreat had been swallowed by the weight of what just happened. No one moved, no one blinked. It was the kind of silence that makes your skin crawl, like the air itself didn't want to get involved. Mendeecees stood still, his arms crossed, but his eyes betrayed him full of something between shock and fury. Yandy's face had gone blank. But her lips were pressed so tight you could tell she was holding back something sharp. Something that could slice through every ounce of peace they had tried to fake on this trip. Erica turned away, finally walking back to her seat like she had dropped the final card in a high-stakes game of emotional poker. And the wildest part, she didn't even look smug. She looked tired, worn out, like she hadn't just blown up to reputations, but had also let go of something she had been carrying for way too long. The rest of the cast didn't know where to look. Some had already tucked their phones away, others just kept recording, knowing this footage would end up on every blog, YouTube channel, and gossip page within hours. Spice leaned over to Bambi and whispered, This is going to change everything. And Bambi didn't even respond. She just nodded slowly, like she could feel the shift happening in real time. Finally, a voice cut through the fog. It was Shekinah, arms crossed, her face twisted in disbelief. Erica, you might feel justified, but threatening to have a black man locked up on national TV, that ain't it. That could ruin a man's life. Erica didn't argue. She looked at Shekinah, eyes glossy but firm, and said, I hear you. But I was triggered. That man has said things about me that have followed me for years, that made people question my character, my motherhood, my worth. He knew what he was doing. And in that moment, I snapped. But I'm not sorry for standing up for myself. Shekinah shook her head, not out of judgment, but like someone who had seen too much damage already. That's the problem, she said. Everyone on this show is fighting to be heard, to be seen, to be respected, and the second someone feels ignored, it turns into war. But not everything needs to be scorched earth. Yandy finally spoke again, her voice much lower now, more grounded, but still shaky. You think you're the only one who's been hurt, Erica? You think I haven't been dragged? I've been called fake, controlling, manipulative, and that's just online. I've watched people twist my love for my husband into some kind of blind loyalty. But I never once tried to tear you down in front of everyone. I never once tried to destroy your name. Erica didn't respond right away. Her jaw clenched, her eyes shifted, and for a moment it looked like maybe she was reconsidering. Maybe she was feeling the weight of what had just been said. But then she said, you may not have done it in front of the cameras, but behind the scenes, in those production meetings, in those phone calls you co-signed the idea that I was the unstable one, and now, I'm done letting that narrative breathe. Mendeecees stepped forward again, not with anger this time, but with something else, something tired. I don't know what's been said behind your back, he admitted. I can't speak for what other people believe, but I never wanted to be part of tearing you down. I just wanted to keep the peace. Erica looked at him, eyes narrowed. Peace. You call silence peace. You call ignoring the things you helped create peace. No, you were comfortable. You were comfortable while I burned. Yandy let out a breath, finally uncrossing her arms. She walked a few steps forward, standing between the two like she had earlier, but now her presence was different, not defensive, not angry, just defeated. You think this makes you look strong, Erica? Because it doesn't. You look like someone who's finally let the pain turn her into everything she hated. Erica flinched at that, and for a split second, something shifted in her face like regret, or doubt, but it vanished as fast as it came. Maybe, she said. But at least I'm not pretending anymore. At least I'm not smiling while I bleed. The room fell silent again. Not because there was nothing left to say, but because everything that could be said had been weaponized already. There were no more safe words, no more peace treaties, just open wounds and cameras catching every tremble, every glare, every word unsaid. One of the producers finally stepped into the frame, cautiously approaching the cast. Maybe we take a break, he offered. Step outside. Clear the air. Nobody moved. The weight in the room was too thick. Nobody trusted what would be waiting when they came back in. Bambi stood up first, grabbing her drink and walking toward the door without saying a word. Spice followed, tossing a look over her shoulder that said more than a paragraph ever could. Disbelief, disappointment, maybe even fear. Shekinah walked out last, still shaking her head, muttering, this show is cursed. Man. Left in the room were Erica, Yandy, and Mendeecees, each frozen in their own private hell. Erica sat back down, her hands in her lap, twisting her bracelet like she was trying to ground herself. Yandy leaned against the wall, eyes closed, lips pressed together like she was praying for silence. Mendeecees walked to the edge of the patio, and stood there, arms crossed, staring out into the trees like the answers were hiding in the branches. And then, without warning, Erica spoke again. Not to them, just to the room, or maybe to herself. You ever reach a point where silence feels like betrayal? Where speaking up feels like the only way to survive? That's where I'm at. That's where I've been for a long time, and I'm not going back. Yandy opened her eyes and looked at her. Really looked. And there was no malice, no anger, just sadness. I wish you had come to me sooner, she said. I really do. But now, I don't even know who you are anymore. Erica looked up slowly. Then maybe you never did, she replied. And maybe that's the whole problem. The final camera shot lingered on the three of them, all standing in different corners of a broken conversation. No one victorious, no one innocent, Just 3 people left in the ruins of a moment that changed everything. The screen faded to black, but the silence that followed felt heavier than anything said aloud. And just like that, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta had its most unforgettable meltdown yet. A retreat that was supposed to bring healing ended up exposing truths to Raw to cover up. And as the footage heads into the edit room, one thing is clear when this airs. The internet won't just be watching. It'll be on fire. So now that the dust has settled, if you can even call it that, what do you think just happened? Did Erica finally say what needed to be said? Or did she go too far and light a fire that can't be put out? Is Mendeecees the calm mastermind hiding behind silence? Or is Erica projecting her pain onto the wrong target? And where does Yandy really stand in all this? The fans are already tearing it apart online. And let's be real, this isn't just reality TV anymore. This is raw, unfiltered chaos, and it's changing everything we thought we knew about this cast. But don't just watch it, go down, join the conversation. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Whose side are you on? What do you think happens next? And do you believe Erica's threat was real or just a breaking point turned weapon? Smash that like button if your jaw dropped at least once during this madness, and don't forget to subscribe because trust me, this story is far from over. New secrets are spilling, alliances are crumbling, and we've got all the receipts. So stay locked in, we've only scratched the surface of the mess.